Norman, thank you for that wonderful introduction. I'm delighted to be here with you tonight. As you all know, California and New York share a powerful force when it comes to advancing the issues of the LGBT community. Neil Patrick Harris. Now, I've got to tell you, I watched the video of Rowan and his mother a few times, and it never loses its power. I think the moment that really captivates me most is when Rowan's mother, Fiona, says whether it's chemistry or monkey bars, there was always someone there to catch him. With Genda, Empire State Pride agenda is making sure that there will always be someone there to catch Rowan and all his LGBT brothers and sisters, cradling them with equality and protecting them from injustice. A few months ago, I worked to remind the California Department of Managed Healthcare about their legal and moral requirements to treat transgender Californians equally. A short while later, I received a letter from a woman named Kabiria. She wrote to tell me that the actions that we took meant so much to her family. One of her children had transitioned from male to female, and because of our actions, her daughter was now able to get health coverage again. Her words were simple, and they were moving. She said, "You can never know how much it means to us. You've given my daughter her life back." Usually letters sent to me go to the state archives, but not that one. That one's staying with me. Kabiria and Rowan's mother, Fiona, and my mother, Vera, are a wonderful example of the fact that having a loving, supportive mother can make a huge difference in overcoming the obstacles placed in front of LGBT youth. You see, I grew up on the east side of LA, and we had plenty of challenges, none of which were made easier by the fact that we were systematically excluded from the process of governing. Our representatives didn't represent us. They didn't speak with our voice, didn't insist that government stop acting on us and rather start acting for us. They had a seat at the table, and it seemed like we were only called to the table to clear the dishes. We here in this room know what that feels like. Today, we've earned our seat at the table, even though we'll always be elected from districts where we're outnumbered. When we go out to earn our seats in the legislature, we have to build personal connections with folks around us for whom justice is also wanting. We must speak out on their issues as well as our own. We have to remember that the questions that were asked by the great Rabbi Hillel are truly important for us. Im ani mi li Usheani latzmi ma ani. If I am not for myself, who will be for me? If I am only for me, what am I? It reminds us that having a seat at the table gives us the opportunity to speak for ourselves when decisions are made. But it also reminds us that that seat is wasted if we don't stand up for others and inspire them to stand with us. Now, this should be second nature to everyone who puts on as many brunches as we do. We know how to bring people to the table. But every seat at the table must be filled with people hungry for equality. Because if that's the case, then every day gives us a new opportunity to fight for social and economic justice. Justice means fairness. Justice means equality. Justice means that we can go to a store, we can order at a restaurant, we can see a movie, and know that we are free from the fear of discrimination for who we are. But perhaps, most importantly, justice means the ability to get up and go to work to provide for your loved ones and know that you're solely judged based on your performance on the job. It's immoral and unjust that anyone can be fired simply for being who they are. But in so many states around the country, that's the reality that we face. And even here in the Empire State, it's the reality of the trans community. These are questions of justice. And answering these questions requires an understanding of the true nature of justice. In his letter from a Birmingham jail, Dr. King made contemporary the 12th century wisdom of St. Thomas Aquinas. In his writings, Dr. King said, "Any law that uplifts human personality is just, and any law that degrades human personality is unjust." Now, there is nothing more degrading than walking next to your boyfriend or girlfriend or spouse unable to hold hands for fear of what might happen on a dark street corner. There is nothing more degrading than being the best damn employee at your work and knowing that your narrow-minded supervisor can fire you for the gender you are. There is nothing, absolutely nothing more degrading to the human spirit than being a vulnerable teenager. Having your parents find out that you're gay and then being hauled into quote-unquote reparative therapy to fix the damage of being homosexual. When the California legislature banned conversion therapy, I have to admit, I wasn't planning to speak. I don't often engage in debate unless I feel that my words can help us refocus a debate that's veering off course. And that was the case that day. Listening to some of my colleagues, you would think that Anita Bryant or James Dobson had been elected to the legislature. But as I sat there, I looked at the words emblazoned above the assembly rostrum, and I rose to speak. Those words ever present in our chamber say, legislatorum est justus legis condere. It is the duty of the legislature to pass just laws. We knew that conversion therapy is abuse of the mind. It degrades the spirit, and my colleagues and I voted to ban that practice. We voted to uplift human personality. We voted for justice that day. And we did so again this summer when we passed a law insisting that every single school in California treats transgender students with respect and dignity. Today, in California, if a student looks like a girl, presents as a girl, identifies and wants to live her life as a girl, she must be recognized as the girl we know she is. Now, fighting for justice is never easy. In fact, that landmark law is already being challenged by referenda. It underscores that change often comes at an excruciating pace, where increments must be victories when sweeping change is truly needed. We will always be appreciative of those who stand with us, but we won't be easily satisfied because our work doesn't end with enacting one policy or winning a single campaign. One grueling battle ends and another begins. And it's natural that we ask ourselves the question that many of my colleagues have asked me: when is it enough? When do we declare victory and go home? And I think that the answer has to be the same. We know that you've heard that question by some who say, now that we have marriage equality secured in New York, our work is done. When are we done? Our work is done when every person is uplifted and no one is degraded. Even in states as welcoming and accepting of us as New York and California, there are still countless people whose lives are degraded by a world that often seems unwelcoming at best or hostile at worst. And in an era where we are more connected than at any point in human history, where It Gets Better videos are only a few mouse clicks away, and reaching out to LGBT people has never been easier, we intrinsically think that today's youth have it so much better than we did. But the bigots and the bullies know how to use the internet too, to tragic and deadly effect. That's why names like Tyler Clementi are etched in our souls. But we also know that the answer to combating injustices and degradation is pride. Pride is what conquers degradation. Pride is how we move forward. It's why the very name of this organization is the Empire State Pride Agenda. We are proud of who we are and the gains we've made and the people who stand with us. In June, I rode in the LA Pride Parade with the Adjutant General of the California National Guard and a dozen active duty Guards members, both gay and straight. They were proud to be with us, to show for the first time an official delegation of our military, indicating that our services were now open to every gay man and lesbian in America. Now, certainly we know that there are still people in virtually every institution that aren't comfortable with us or with some of the issues that we put forward. That's the inevitable result of fundamental change, and it's why our approach is often 3 steps forward and 1 step back and an end run down the side. You see, before my election to the legislature, the legislature had discontinued its LGBT pride celebrations because homophobic members would exit en masse out a side door in protest of our recognition of our community. When I got elected, my friend Tom Amiano and I brought that pride ceremony back to commemorate the 40th anniversary of Stonewall. Many still walked out, but we were proud nonetheless. Now, a short while later, I was elected speaker, and when I was sworn in, I decided to have a little fun. I snuck 50 members of the LA Gay Men's Chorus into the Capitol, and I tucked them away where nobody would find them. Then at just the right moment, we welcomed them into the chamber and brought them in that same door that had been the escape route for the homophobes. They filled the well in the front of the room, and they began to sing. I asked them to sing a medley of God Bless America and America the Beautiful. My homophobic colleagues didn't know what to do. They didn't know whether to sit on their hands or applaud, but what kind of self-respecting American doesn't applaud God Bless America and America the Beautiful? I wasn't done with my fun, so I had them sing A Brand New Day from the musical The Wiz. Brand new day indeed. A call for a brand new day when never again we hear names like Tyler Clemente, because the isolation, bullying, and suicide of LGBT youth has stopped. A brand new day when we pass gender and ensure that every transgender New Yorker can go to work proud of the work that they do and proud of who they are. A brand new day when all of us, from New York to California and every state in between, are treated with dignity and respect as everyday Americans. We know that day is coming, and we know that it isn't coming through linear progression alone. The laws of physics tell us that a beam of light shining from the Statue of Liberty in New York to the Golden Gate Bridge in California will bend in an arc. And it's a fitting reminder of Dr. King's timeless words that the arc of the moral universe is long, but that it bends towards justice. Passing gender bends that arc. Outlawing conversion therapy bends that arc. Ensuring that a young woman in public schools is treated like the young woman she knows she is bends that arc. California and New York acting to uplift human dignity bends that arc. Pride bends that arc. And we're going to keep on bending that arc until every single person in our community is caught and cradled in the embrace of true equality. And that will truly be a brand new day. Thank you.